Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Fundraising BIDness Talk. This is episode 49, so we are only one away from the big 5-0. Fantastic stuff. Hey, hope you're doing terrific today. My name's Patrick Cyber. I'm the lead auctioneer and owner of G Events LLC. We're an event management company focused on fundraising auctions and golf tournaments here in Beaverton, Oregon. It's a beautiful day here, a little overcast. I was talking to a good friend down in Florida earlier today about an upcoming golf event, and he was telling me that it was a little cold down there. He said it was 60 degrees. And I said, well, we might get to 60 this weekend, and people will be throwing on their flip-flops and their sandals. So their flip-flops and shorts. So it's going to be a great weekend here in beautiful Oregon. So anyhow, hey, it's great to have you join us. Please be sure to say hello. Tell us where you're tuning in from today, and say hello. And also, as always, feel free to drop the questions in the comment box. If you have any, whether they're on topic or not, doesn't matter to me. Let's take a look at whatever questions you have today, and we would be happy to answer them. So it's great to have everybody here, and appreciate you tuning in. We do this every Wednesday at noon here on the West Coast with the intent of talking about what's happening in the fundraising auction business. And today I'm going to visit with, hey, the spring season is here. As you know, our fundraising auction season kind of goes in cycles. We tend to follow the school year with fundraising auctions, which means that we start right in the fall. We have a fall season that starts right after the school year starts and goes until basically just before Thanksgiving traditionally, and then picks up again in February and rolls through till the end of May, and with some obvious breaks for spring break and for Easter and things of that nature, Mother's Day, things of that, special holidays. But as a rule, we are now in the spring season, and I kicked off my spring season last week with an event, and I was blown away with the success. It's a fun event. We've been involved with this group since the day they started the event 6 years ago, and they came to us with an idea, and it was really unique. And they had I laughed pretty hard because I remember after the end of the conversation saying, what's the end goal here? What financially, what would you be happy if this could all happen? What would you be happy with? And I remember the person I was speaking with who ended up chairing the project, and it was kind of her idea. She said, gosh, if we could net $10,000, that would be fantastic. And I thought, okay, well, it's a new idea. Who knows, right? Well, last year, our 5th year doing the event, and I just saw that they surpassed $125,000 net. So, wow. What a fun event. And, it's kind of interesting because the format doesn't really, this event involves a celebrity spelling bee. Yes, that's right. A celebrity spelling bee. And we do some fun things with it, but it doesn't really, it wasn't conducive to moving to virtual. Just because of the nature of the event and the number of people on stage and all sorts of different things. So we took a break in 2021. It was one of the last events I did in the spring of 2020, in the first week of March, middle of February, I think, in 2020. And then we took off 2021 and we brought it back in 2022. And I was overwhelmed with the results, not only financially, but it was a different atmosphere, a different mood, if you will, than what I saw this fall and in any events that had gathering components. What I saw in the fall was organizers were extremely optimistic that they were going to fill their rooms, and we did not see as many people. We saw roughly, in some cases, as low as 50% of what the anticipated attendance was. And we definitely had more success with virtual events in the fall than we did with gathering or hybrid. As we moved into the spring, the question mark was bigger than ever, right? I mean, we've moved a lot of events this spring back to virtual. We have added virtual components and live streaming components to a gathering event, hybrid format. But this event last week was 100% in person, and it was phenomenal to see the excitement of this event has been sold out since day one, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and they were sold out this year. And it was like a flashback. It was a flashback to the glory days of seeing folks come together. And we did some things to make sure that we accommodated the safety issues and mandates and all that stuff, because here in Oregon we still do have some mandates, but you are allowed, once you are sitting at your table for food service, once you're sitting at your table, just like going into a restaurant, you're able to remove your mask. And so it was exciting for me, being at the microphone and being at the podium on stage, that as I looked out into the room at all the people seated at their tables, to see their actual smiles, it was phenomenal. It was incredibly exciting, and really enjoyed it. So it was a great night. The event did extremely well financially, and but it was a lot of work. And there was a couple of things that we did that I don't think we had not done in the past, and it turned out to be really positive. And I wanted to share a couple of those things with you today. One was this group had traditionally had moved to online bidding probably in 2020. Prior to 2020, the event had been on a paper bid sheet. So I mentioned it was a spelling bee is the main entertainment of the event, but we had a silent auction during the social hour, and that led into a plated dinner and a paddle raise, and then the spelling bee. Now we had a couple of let's call it, lack of a better term, gimmicky auction packages. One was a Save the Speller paddle, where we auction off the opportunity to possess one of these paddles. And if your favorite spelling bee contestant misses a word, you can raise the paddle one time, and it's like a lifeline. And that's kind of a fun deal. But for the most part, we had the silent auction. They had a raffle, and then they had the paddle raise, and then we would go to the spelling bee. So one of the things that we talked about them in the pre-planning process is that we really advocated for a online auction, and doing it for a solid week. And the group was a little resistant. They were fired up about getting back together. There was some on the committee that were really, looking for, I don't know if I'd call it nostalgia, or just, the warm fuzzy that they enjoyed the paper bid sheets in the past, but they really wanted to go paper bid sheets. And I convinced them that we should do online bidding, and we should start a week in advance with a kickoff show that we've been promoting, that we do with our clients when they start their online bidding. And they said, yeah, well, okay, well, we trust you, Patrick, let's do it. And we did it, and it was phenomenal results. We at least doubled, if not tripled, the results of their online auction that they had before. And it was incredible. The day we opened the online auction, we did a kickoff live stream. And if you've heard me talk about this before, this is a live stream that I do usually with the auction chair, or the executive director, or the principal of the school, someone in a key position. And we do a short half-hour live stream where we talk about, hey, auction week is here, and here's why we're raising money. And then I walk the audience through how to bid, and how to participate, and how to support the event and support the cause. And we answer some few questions. We try to make it really interactive. I actually do a giveaway with a $25 Amazon gift card, something novel, but people love to win something, right? And so using StreamYard like we're doing today. StreamYard has a giveaway tool, and it is really, really handy. You identify a hashtag, and then you tell your audience, hey, put in the comments hashtag this. Last week the event's called the Sip and Spell, and so I said put hashtag Sip and Spell into the comment box, and you'll be entered into a drawing to receive a $25 gift card. And so we had a lot of people enter during the kickoff. It was great, and then we gave away the $25 gift card. It's an automated deal. Anyhow, it's cool. But literally in the first day, we had $10,000 worth of bidding. Wow. On an online event, $10,000 in less than 24 hours was a phenomenal. I think the best they had done in the past was about 12,000 in their online, in their silent auction. We ended up doing, I think, just over 30,000 in the online auction. So don't discount. And it kind of brings me to a point, right? I tell folks all the time, as we move back into this world of gathering events, that more bodies does not equal more dollars. I cannot stress enough. This is something that we believed before in gathering events before COVID, but I am adamant about it now, that more bodies does not equal more dollars. But I'll tell you this, that more bidders equals more dollars. And one of the things we did with that event last week was that we extended the bidding to folks who did not have a ticket to the event. And that was new. In the past, the only people that could bid in the online auction or their silent auction were people that actually attended the event. And now we extended that to be anybody that wanted to support the cause. And we registered an extra 60 or 70 bidders outside of just the ticket holders. There was 225 ticket holders. So turned out to be really powerful. So keep in mind, folks, hey, keep it in mind. More bodies does not equal more dollars, yet more bidders does equal more dollars. And, I say all the time, hey, folks, every bid is raising money, whether you win the item or you don't. Every time you bid, you're raising money for that organization. And that's powerful stuff, right? So when we say we get more bidders, that means not just people registered, it means people who bid. So more bidders equals more money. It was fantastic. So it was exciting to see the raffle. They do a little raffle, take some gift cards. This is a great idea you might consider for your event, is that they gather gift cards. They ask board members, they ask local restaurants and businesses to provide them with gift cards. A lot of times people in their community, board members and participants in the organization will, they have a gift card that's just been growing dust in their wallet or in the, stuck to the fridge or whatever it is. They asked them to gather them. And so they ended up with, I don't know, it was roughly, I think it was just over $1,000 worth of gift cards. And they raffle it off as one package. Okay. And they sell tickets to the raffle and this is only in person. This is not to the public outside of the event. So it's kind of a bonus that you attend the event and you get to participate in this raffle. But $25 a ticket, I think we raised just over $8,500 or something like that. And it was incredibly, incredibly powerful. And it was a lot of fun. And it was fun for us at G Events because we utilized the wheel of names to draw the winner. And I'll tell you another tool. We used a couple of tools last week that we'll be starting to use a lot more. And I'm really talking to my friends right now that are using Octria as your bidding software, as your auction software. Octria.com is our preferred platform for our clients. If a client is using Octria, We'll help them with everything from website design to managing items and things of that nature. We don't traditionally do data entry, but we'll help them get all set up and make sure that they're successful and managing their tickets and all those types of stuff, sponsorships, everything. Really advocate for using as much of Octria as you can. But there was a couple of tools that we used last week for the first time, and it worked smooth as silk. And so I wanted to touch base on those. And the first one that we used that we really, really liked was kiosk mode. And kiosk mode is kind of cool. I probably should do a screen share. I can't do it right now because I'm not prepared, but I'll do in a future show. I'll do a screen share of it. But within Octria, they have a feature called kiosk mode. And here is the use that we did it for. This event was, as I mentioned, they had two things that they were selling at the event that were, quote, for sale items, right? First is that it's a wine event, and so wine and beer is included in your ticket charge. And they had gotten some feedback over the years that some folks would really prefer to have a spirits, a mixed cocktail. And so they decided to introduce a limited no host liquor bar, just because they didn't adjust their ticket prices. They knew that, liquor costs more than wine, whatever. So they worked it out, and they did not want people, they had an opportunity to use some product that was provided to them that they had access to, and their caterer was just going to serve it. And so they wanted to sell, the traditional drink ticket, right? I think we've all been to the event where you got a couple of drink tickets. And one of the things that we talked to them about was, hey, let's think about using our kiosk mode that is in Octria. And they're like, well, what is that? And I said, well, here's the way this would work. I said, because, how many times, there was a group of people at this committee meeting, and I said, how many times do you get to the bar and you stand in line, and then you get up to the front and you didn't bring your purse, you didn't bring your wallet, right? And you didn't realize it was no host or whatever it was. And it's so frustrating. You stood in this line for the bar, and now all of a sudden you can't, you got to run back to your table and grab your handbag or, whatever. And, all the people around the room went, yeah, I hate that. I said, what if you could use your bidder number? And they said, wow, that would be awesome if we could use our bidder number. So what we ended up doing was in kiosk mode in Octria, we identified two items. We had the raffle. So we sold the raffle tickets this way, and we sold the cocktails this way. And in kiosk mode, we identified what it does is someone who has a user account, right, an admin or a user account, so access to the back end of Octria, can log into a device. They can log into multiple devices, but they put it in kiosk mode, and the only options are whatever you decide to put on your kiosk. So in other words, I had the cocktails on the kiosk and I had the raffle tickets. So now they could hand that device to a volunteer, and that volunteer stood by the bar. And when somebody came up to the bar and they wanted a cocktail, they said, hey, what is your bidder number? And they said, it's 123. They literally pushed on their phone 123 into kiosk mode, and it assigned that cocktail charge to that bidder account, right? Same, we had some folks walking around in the room with selling raffle tickets. Well, instead of handing people raffle tickets and having to write it down, writing down bid numbers and writing down how many tickets we gave them, and then turning around and having to go back to the cashiers and input those into the auction software, that whole deal, right? And then you had all these tickets, and what do you do with these tickets? Because we used kiosk mode, we were able to have so that those volunteers just had it right on their cell phone or their iPads, whichever they were using, depending on the person. And they could say, I can sell you, how many raffle tickets do you want? I want 20, I want 10, whatever. I want 4, I want 1, whatever the number is. What's your bidder number? It's 123, and change the quantity to the number of tickets they want. And it automatically went on their Octria statement. And then what was cool for us was that instead of having one of those barrels that, they rent so that you can put all the tickets in and you're trying to get all the tickets in there. Anyhow, we've all been to that dance, right? So what we do is in Octria, we go to that item, that raffle item, and we export the individual sales. And so now we have an Excel spreadsheet that has a name for every chance or every ticket sold, right? So if we sold 100 tickets, it would put out 100 names. So if someone bought multiple tickets, their name would show up on the list multiple times to coincide with the number of tickets that they bought. And then once we have that list, now we populate it into a wheel of names. And another tool we love, which is a simple app, and I'm pretty sure I can get to a wheel of names and show you what one of those looks like. Yeah, absolutely I can. Okay. So I am going to, so what happens is you can go to the wheel of names, and this is what it looks like. And all you do is you paste, like right now, this one's already built, but we would just paste all the names into right here. And then what we did was we went into full screen mode and we put this up on the main screen for the event, right? So really cool. Came time to draw our winner. We just put the wheel of names up on the screen. We didn't have to, people could see their names spinning around. You can see on here, if you look really close, you'll see some names multiple times because they bought multiple tickets. And then all we do is click here and it will spin the wheel and it will determine our winner. And it's totally random. Nobody, yep. And there we go. And then it shoots out the confetti gun and the whole deal. It's just a really fun tool. We like to use that. So that was one of the things that we did last week was kiosk mode. Kiosk mode was really cool. I think I shared that and I probably did not put it on the screen. So let me share that one more time. I don't think that I put it on the screen, which was really stupid. So I'm going to do that, and there we go. And so there's what it looks like, okay? And I just need to play around with my tabs here real quick, right, so that I can see them in different things. And there we go. And all you do is put the names in here, right? And then once they're in there, I just shuffle them all up, I close the ad, I move it to full screen, and now I'm ready to spin the winner. And my apologies for not doing that where you could see it a minute ago. That was stupid. But anyhow, looky there, Jen Snelling. Jen was at the event last week too. Isn't that funny? Anyhow, just a great tool, great fun, easy to to share with folks, and just an all-around good time. So that was one of them. So kiosk mode. So we sold our raffle tickets, we sold our cocktails using kiosk mode. The best part about kiosk mode is that, I mentioned that once you log in as a with your user account, you can, once you put it in kiosk mode and you hand it to that volunteer, maybe you logged in on their device, they can't get to the back end of the software because they have to have your password to do that when they exit kiosk mode. It requires a password to get back. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. They've really, really thought it out well at Octria.com, and I found kiosk mode was fantastic. The other one that we did, and it was funny, I got a phone call. Actually, I got an email that morning from a fellow person in the auction industry here in town who I think the world of, and Kristen Smith. And she was asking, about, she was trying to come up with a way to show some active stuff on a virtual event. And she asked me if I was familiar with leaderboard mode in Octria. And, I knew it existed, but I hadn't really spent much time on it. And I hadn't really thought about any real practical use for it the last few, over the time. But when she asked me the question, I kind of got interested, and literally within a half hour, I taught myself because of the incredible tech support and support documents that Octria provides in their files and support documents. I was blown away, and I all of a sudden realized how I wanted to use it. And what it will do is it will create a how do I say this? An active leaderboard that shows the current bidding going on in the event. And I was like, wow, how cool is that? And I was trying to think of a practical use for it. And what I decided was this was a cool opportunity, because one of the things that we did with this event last week was we said we were going to keep the online bidding open. I mentioned for a week. We started a week before the actual in-person event. But then what we did was we keep it open until 30 minutes after the end of the gathering event, right? So there's a couple of things I'm going to touch on here in a second, but I wanted to show you this picture real quick, because I thought it was really cool. This was what we did last week was that when was during dinner service. During dinner service, we showed the leaderboard. And so what's on this leaderboard here is real-time bidding. So it shows the name of the person bidding, and it shows the item they bid on and the amount they were bidding on. Now, I was blown away, but it was awesome. And you can see, if you look in this picture close enough, you can see this is the actual picture from the event. People were screaming across the table, "Hey, quit bidding on that. I want that. Quit, don't outbid me. Hey, I thought we were going in together on this package," whatever it was, right? And it was this great camaraderie amongst the room, and kind of competitiveness and kind of fun. It was really cool, and it was a neat way. I think back to prior to COVID, and one of our big concerns, and a lot of our committees are concerned with online bidding, was people were going to be looking at their phones the whole time. And when you start the bidding a week in advance, they've placed their bids, they've been monitoring them, they get notified when they get outbid, they use proxy bid, all the different. I don't find that they're looking at their phones, right? And as we've come back together, it brings it fresh to mind. And when we put that leaderboard up, I think it generated some more bids, and it didn't distract from the dinner itself, and the other fundraising. It wasn't like they were trying to bid during the paddle raise or during the spelling bee. It was really cool. And I really, really liked the leaderboard function from Octria, and we'll be incorporating it a lot moving forward, because it was really, really powerful, and it was fun to see how people jumped in and got engaged. It was awesome. So definitely encourage you to do that. The other thing, another thing that we've noticed in these events, and we'll continue to do moving forward with the online auctions, because we're going to keep them open through the gathering event. We don't bring the online auction items to the event. We don't bring them to the venue. We don't encourage folks, because they're not going to be sold that night. We don't bring them to the venue. And we found for the organizers, it makes setup, it makes a lot of things a lot easier for them. And then it gives them the opportunity, let's say the next day, when someone wins an item, they get their statement. It tells them how to gather their item, whether they come by the office of the nonprofit, or the nonprofit organizes, distribution through delivery or whatever. But it gives another touch point for that nonprofit to really thank that donor for purchasing the item. And it made setup a lot easier. It's a lot less stressful. You're not printing, bid sheets and description sheets and all this other stuff. They've had a week 24/7 for 7 days to look at the items and become familiar. If you wanted to if you wanted to display a few items, bigger items or whatever, if you had a special bicycle, for example, or you had a special wheel of wagon of booze or something like that, or a wine collection, yeah, okay. But to bring to put a display of the gift certificate to the spa or, to the, just doesn't make any sense to me. And so we found, this is going to be a best practice moving forward for our clients. Is there's just no reason for us to bring all the silent packages, the online packages to the venue if we're not going to distribute them that night, right? Because there's no guarantee, even if you close the online auction earlier than the close of the event, you would there's no guarantee that the winner of the items at the event, right? Because you opened your bidding to people who not only were attending the event, but were also not attending the event, non-ticket holders. And so no reason to bring it together. And we learned this earlier this year. We had this as a recommendation, just kind of as a thought process. And one of our groups was really adamant about they were going to display, and they thought that would help them, raise more money and all this. And I remember talking to them the Monday after the event, and I said, well, how did shutdown go? And they said, well, we were here till 1:00 moving the items back to the office, back to storage, because, people didn't pick them up. And so kind of reaffirmed and confirmed my hypothesis that, we don't need to take those items to the event. So anyhow, hey folks, it's this is Fundraising BIDness Talk. I'm Patrick Cyber, and fundraising auctioneer and owner at G Events LLC. We get together every Wednesday at noon to talk about current events and what's happening in the fundraising auction and golf tournament business. And we're so happy you joined us today. If you want to catch one of the other episodes, there's 48 of them up right now. This is episode 49, and you can go to fundraisingbidnesstalk.com and catch any of the episodes. Lots of good information there, and we certainly hope you'll consider checking it out. And always, if you got a question for us, drop us a line. Go to geventsllc.com. You'll see a link to a scheduler. You can schedule a 30-minute Zoom or drop us an email, whatever works best for you. We'd love to talk to you about your event and see if we can help you raise more money. Because, folks, remember, it does not matter where you start the bidding. It's all about where you finish. Thanks for tuning in today. We wish you all the best. Look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. May your tell folks to bid high and bid often. Have a great day.